Hey everyone. I thought I'd make a quick video about three things that I learned during music production. It may not be the most glamorous subject for some of you, but um, to me personally, it's very important to share things that are valuable um, that you experience with other people because I know what it's like to, wish somebody would just tap me on the shoulder out of the goodness of their heart just because to help me, even if it's just something small. And I know the importance of information. I know the power that knowledge has, and when you know just a little bit more than you did before, that can be the difference between what makes or breaks you. And to kind of add to that, this is kind of not the topic I want to talk about, but I would just want to dip in and dip out. When I talk about shyness and things like that, and I use myself as an example, I really don't think people understand the extensiveness to which shyness is a detriment. I think sometimes we normalize certain things as personality and character traits and just kind of sit with that as our being. But there's drawbacks to everything. There's a difference between being shy and reserved and being so isolated mentally, emotionally, and physically. You see what I'm saying? Because if you've gone through, I've talked to my mother about this many times, and I said, Mom, the amount of elderly people I've encountered over the years that just waste away and don't see the importance of sharing and passing down wisdom is beyond me. There's only very a handful of people up in age older than me that have found it important to not just sit around, but to take an opportunity to pass knowledge down and pass experiences down and pass lessons down. And when you let shyness become this character trait, all the people, all the things that you could have took advantage of to be a help to someone because you've gone through something and came out all right, and you could have simply just nudged them a little bit and said, hey, this is what you can do too to get out of that. But shyness crippled your tongue, and we're okay with that. We're okay with that. And I just don't know that that's something that we should be okay with. I think if you're extremely chronically shy to even talk to anyone, I think that is something to fervently pray about, because that's not something you should be okay with, because you're going to have experiences and testimonies, and would you really want that to die with you and not actually help someone else? I just, that's my take on that. I didn't mean to go on a long tangent, but I really think, I don't think we think about how detrimental being so reserved is, and the importance and our role in community. You see what I'm saying? Beyond the walls of your brothers and sisters at home. But that's just Elijah's take on that. Um, so I wanted to, for that reason, I wanted to continue what I've been doing and share with you the first thing. One thing I learned from a musical standpoint is to trust my ear. What I mean by that is, you know, when you're inspired and have an idea, just in general, it's so just as quick as you get an idea, you will start doubting that idea so fast. And when I stepped into studios, when I started production on songs, and I'm like, oh, this is not. After I communicated it to this person I'm working with or this team I'm working with, I'm like, it's not in my heart of hearts, in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's not sounding the way I envisioned it to sound. And or I'll record vocals, and I'm like, I don't know if that was right. And sometimes people around you won't hear what you're hearing. So many instances where I was doing recordings and different things, I would go back days later to that recording. I'm like, I know something is off, and then I would find out what it is, and nobody else heard it. But if I had just kind of brushed it off and didn't trust myself because I lacked so much experience, it's like, I would have been disappointed because it would have been gnawing at me. So I learned that even though I may not have this as much experience as all these popular musicians and popular producers and these artists that can sing and all these people that are in the musical space, I may not be the most, prodigy among us all, but I have a talent, I have gift, and if I know I'm hearing something, 99.9% I heard what I heard, and I've learned to trust myself with that. So it's a very, you gotta fight your subconscious a lot of times, and know when to yield. And then number two, I learned I don't have to settle. And more specifically, what I'm referring to is like, um, if people will sometimes make you feel like you don't have a choice, and it's either you do this or it won't work. And I don't buy that, and I have the experience to back that up. I have the experience to say that no, you have a right. You have an absolute right to work with people that's exciting, that's enthusiastic, that's motivated, that's creative, that wants to see you prosper, that will pick up the phone, that will check on you, that will give you advice, that will be kind with their approach toward you and what you're doing. All those types of things that are not a common thing to have, you can still have it. And if you're working on a musical project or whatever it is, and you realize that people are treating you like they're doing you a favor, you don't have to settle for that. And this is not, it's not a grievance I have about anything, because I've had those experiences too. But I it's just a matter of you just don't have to stay there. You can always take another route to get to the same objective, because this, what I'm expressing to you, is experiences that I've talked to other singers. I've talked to musicians that said, "Yeah, bro, it's how it goes. That's how it is out here." I've talked to people that they said, "Bruh, it's not new. This is stuff that people do. This is how people act." And because I had those reassurances, it taught me like, no, I will go. I went over. I have traveled virtually overseas to work with producers on some of the songs on my record, because I'm just like, I'm not settling, and it came out beautifully. So that's very important. You do not have to settle for anything less than what you know you deserve. And number three, there's nothing. This is, I'll say this. This is just my, if I can use the phrase, musical philosophy. I just don't believe that there's anything musically creative that can't be done. You just need the right time, and you need the right people around you. This kind of goes hand in hand with the second thing that I learned, because what I mean by that is, sometimes if you have an idea or a musical approach that you want to take, even if you don't understand how to piece it all together, and this is why I love talking videos and doing these formats, because I know that sometimes people don't know the right words to express and make sense of their experience. And if I can help to bring some sort of formation to how people feel about things, then I'll do that. And that's why I mean, when I say that, if you have an idea or a melody or just any fragment of an idea, and you maybe you talk about it to your friend, and they say, "Well, I don't know, man. You got to make it make sense." I don't know, that'll make no sense. No, I don't care if every single person tells you they don't know if that'll work. There is somebody on this planet that will get you, that will say, "Oh, I got you." Because sometimes all it takes is somebody willing to sit down with you and figure it out. Um, and you will find people like that, but you just have to give it time, and you just have to be open to waiting to come across the right connections, or just really figure it out on your own. Because I just don't want you to let anybody make you feel like you have to fit a certain mold to be accepted, or your music has to sound a certain way for people to like it, or you have to sing a certain way for people to think you're talented, or you have to have some sort of status for people to care about what you got going on. None of those things is accurate. None of those things are true. This is why it's important to have the right kind of people around you, because, you know, some producers, some musicians, some singers will sit with songwriters, they will sit with you and dig until what you were trying to get out of the idea you had, fragments of it starts to manifest itself. So I really, really want to encourage you, don't throw in the towel. Don't toss your idea aside. Don't say, it's not even that good of an idea anyway, because people are like that. A lot of times people will trash your ambitions, your ideas, because they're haters. Okay? They're hating on you that you're bold enough to even dream. You're not punking out. Okay? That's how it is. That's why you gotta. And some people, and even if they're not being malicious, some people just don't have what you have. They may have something different, or maybe the gift in them just has to. It's just gonna take a little bit longer to blossom, and that's okay. We're all on separate journeys, hopefully aiming for the same things, right? So no, I want you to remember. If you can remember this, number one, trust your ear. That's what I learned. Two, you do not have to settle for any sort of treatment, any sort of. You don't have to play. You don't have to dance to the beat of people's drums, especially if you know that is diminishing the quality of your work. And three, don't let anyone ever tell you it can't be done, because I don't care what instrument you heard on some random ad. You can find that. You can find that loop. You can find that instrument. You can find that vocal technique. You can find that lyrical pattern. You can reinvent what what music sounds like. You know what I'm saying? The sky is the limit when you know the parameters of which you have to stay in and work within that circle, you know? But some people, if you keep connecting with people that have a narrow understanding of creativity, then you're going to find yourself on that downward spiral, and then it's ended up being stagnant like they are, you know? So I hope any of that encouraged you. I'm gonna quit this video now. But I hope you can understand what I mean and reconsider. If you know that it's a part of your character to be extremely shy to the point that you really just don't connect with people, it takes time to unlearn that. But I don't want you to own that like it's a character trait to be proud of, because it's something that I can relate to because I've been there. Maybe some of you just didn't know that, Elijah, but I can say that because I know what that's like, and I know that if I had spoke up and simply asked people that I trusted that loved me, if I asked them questions, if I was bold enough to say to that kid in my class, "Hey, how are you? I really like your hat." If I was able to socialize and communicate, I could have probably had different types of relationships earlier on in my life. And adults are like this, where we are grown adults, and we've worn this quiet, mysterious character personality trait like a badge of honor, when it really isn't serving you. When you've gone through, as they say, you've gone through almost like hell and back, and you have a beautiful story of victory and triumph. And as you age, you really are willing to let all of the beauty of that testimony just go to the grave with you. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it to me. And I hope that you can see why I'm expressing that it shouldn't be worth it to you, okay? So I hope something of what I said made sense. And see you in the next video, Lord willing. All right, bye.